Minister of Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyeji-Ocha, recently called on state governors to take ownership of the fight against the prevalence of child and forced labour at the state and local government levels. She made the call at the official launch of a Nigeria Child Labour and Forced Labour Survey Report 2022 in Abuja and affirmed federal government support in policy formulation and implementation. Nigeria has made considerable advancement in her effort to eliminate child labour. The government validated the National Policy on Child Labour and the National Action Plan for the Elimination of Child Labour 2021 to 2025. Apart from this, advocacy programs from both government and civil societies have been intense, and enlightenment of the public on dangers inherent in the act prioritized. Why then does the act still persist? One of the areas attributed to this is enlightenment of the community members who over the years feel it is a norm to see children work with their families at farms, selling and hawking various commodities on the streets or becoming house helps. Many consider children helping their parents as normal, even at the detriment of their safety and education. How can communities stop overlooking or accommodate this act that government and civil societies are keen to eliminate? That's our focus on Panorama today. Remember that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. I am Adeola Komiakere. Thanks for joining us on Panorama. We'll be right back. It is a major leap forward for women in Africa and their shared aspiration for gender equity following the launch of the We Are Equal campaign of the Organization of African First Ladies for Development of LAD in Abuja. President Bola Tinubu, while formally launching the hashtag We Are Equal campaign, says his administration is ready to work with relevant stakeholders towards a future where no Nigerian child is excluded from quality education, irrespective of gender. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
For alternative solutions in their educational pursuits.
Another big day for the African continent as the quest for gender mainstreaming and inclusive development hits a major milestone with the launch of the We Are Equal campaign in Nigeria. The campaign is a project of the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, OAFLAD, aimed at driving gender mainstreaming and women empowerment. In the spirit of sisterhood, First Ladies from member countries of OAFLAD joined Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, who is leading the campaign in the country.
Yes, we are equal.
Launching the hashtag We Are Equal campaign in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu applauded African First Ladies for being true mothers of the continent and staying the course in their efforts to close gender gaps.
I see you leading, believing, and working hard. We will follow.
The Nigerian leader is happy with the choice of education as the focus of the campaign in the country and was clear on his administration's readiness to provide access to education without leaving anyone behind.
Let us carry forward this campaign, which promises to give an educated girl child the potential to bring the necessary change in African community for the better.
The We Are Equal campaign has taken a firm root in Africa, having been launched in about 15 countries on the continent. Here in Nigeria, with education as the focus, the vision of Nigeria's First Lady, which saw the establishment of the alternative high school for girls, is expected to be the anchor of the program.
Motivation for the establishment of this school as an educationist and lifelong teacher stems from the desire to see young girls and women who dropped out of school due to several challenges including early pregnancies, cultural barriers, financial reasons, and many more, have a second chance to complete high school, acquire higher education, and valuable life skills to enable them reach full potential in life.
The focus of the campaign and its expected role in building a future where gender equity will be a reality drew the applause of other First Ladies. Appreciation and further pledge of commitment to the campaign came from Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, and development partners. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Leaders in all sectors, including politics and the military, have been charged to use leadership as a tool for development, driven by the people's interests. Governor Sanwo-Olu gave the charge when he played host to the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa at the State House in Marina. Joy Ken Abakboye reports.
The visit by the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa is to appreciate the Lagos State government's support for military formations in the state and to seek support for the proposed construction of an Invictus Center. General Christopher Musa, who assured that the military will continue to maintain professionalism, added that standing court-martials have been put in place to deal with bad eggs within. The military chief says the Nigerian Armed Forces is for Nigerians and citizens should take ownership.
We recruit from the public, from the communities, and so the good, the bad, and the ugly somehow get in. But the system has a way of tracking them out and dealing with their situations. I will continue to do that. The Invictus Center is being planned to be constructed. A lot of people to have actually severe intention to also contribute to it because we know we cannot do it alone.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who says there has been a decline in regular cases of attacks across the country within the last 12 months, commended the military for their role in ensuring safety and the preservation of peace and unity in the country. He assured that the Lagos State government will continue to give the armed forces the needed support to effectively carry out its duty.
Let us use governance, as a tool for development that is centrally driven by people's interests. So you could see the commonality of our leadership is to serve our people, is to ensure that we are in position of leadership to render those services to our people.
Governor Sanwo-Olu also noted that there is an ongoing recruitment exercise in the military and encouraged young residents of Lagos to take advantage of the opportunity. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboye, NTA News.
As insecurity remains a global concern, Nigeria is strengthening efforts to leverage cutting-edge technology to protect the nation's defense infrastructure, which will also aid data generation to create geospatial images for troops in their fight against terrorism and cyber crimes. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa, who was at the 2024 Defense Space Administration seminar, reports that the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, underscored the importance of advanced technology in combating emerging threats, including banditry and violent extremism. He urged the Nigerian military to embrace the benefits inherent in to safeguard the nation's territorial integrity.
So the federal government has done its part. The rest is for us to mobilize all the necessary resources, all the necessary intellectual and researches to produce locally. And this is the beginning.
We'll do vulnerability assessment. We are also partners in the NGSAT. We are the NGSAT cell for the armed forces of Nigeria. So those are some of the capabilities. As well, we also conduct low-level Earth observation using drones.
There was also an exhibition of some of the technologies and pictorial representations of areas where operations have taken place by the forces. The Ministry of Aviation And Aerospace Development says the introduction of helicopter landing levies is in line with global best practices and a cost recovery measure aimed at enhancing the quality of helicopter operations in Nigeria. This is contained in a statement by the head of press and public affairs of the ministry, Odutayo Oluseyi. He said helicopter landing levies were common across airfields globally, including the United States, the UK, and India, ranging from major commercial ones to small general aviation fields. Oluseyi therefore called on all stakeholders to support the ministry for the success of these regulations aimed at enhancing security and surveillance, improve capacity, and attract more investment in the aviation industry. It's time for us to take a break. More reports when we return. Please stay with us. Nigeria has strong extant laws on child labor and over the years made considerable progress in making sure that child labor is eradicated in the country. Despite validating the national policy on child labor and the action plan for its elimination for 2021 to 2025, the act still persists in some communities, with many activists of child rights pointing to reluctance of communities to be on board the crusade. Larry Belay takes a look at how communities can be empowered anew to tackle this ugly act in their domains.
Child labor is one of the greatest moral issues facing the world. At public spaces and homes, these underaged children are seen begging for alms along busy roads, not minding the dangers involved, and hawking goods, mostly sachet water, while in some homes they are house helps. Government efforts at all levels in eradicating child labor in the country, many say, is not yet yielding the desired results, with communities feigning ignorance about the situation. In some cases, communities see child labor as an act of survival by the families that engage in it. So if you can't help, don't intervene.
This attitude is reinforced by the fact that many children begin working at a very young age and are able to contribute to their families financially. Yes, they bring in income. In addition, some traditional practices in Nigeria involve children working in certain sectors, such as apprenticeships in trade and farming.
This has raised the question, is child labor a cultural, religious, or socio-economic demand? In Nigeria, sites of these children working at farms for agricultural purposes, construction sites, even as apprentices at automobile repair shops, and begging for alms, even scavenging, is of grave concern. Child protection and rights advocates state that advocacy needs to be stepped up in communities, starting with religious organizations, community associations, market men and women groups, and artisans association in Lagos. Larry Belay, NTA News.
And to discuss further on this topic, I have with me in the studio Marylove Ifedoyin Olatuboso, medical officer and child rights and women rights advocate. Thank you for joining us on Panorama.
It's nice to be here.
Okay, now, not all work done by children seem to be categorized as being engaged in child labor now. And communities who benefit from what these children do seldom speak against it. Now, what can be classified as child labor? What works do these children undertake that we call child labor, we term as child labor?
According to the child rights law, it stated that a child from 0 to 18 is a child. Some people call them minor. Then, in 2023, there was a law that says that age 14 and 15 can do some job.
Okay.
But it has to be maybe during the holiday.
Okay.
Or during the public holidays, or in the evening while they are not in school. Then, There's another law that says, during that convention in 2023, in 2003 rather, says that any job any child that is above 15 must not engage in these activities. So what we classify as a art job, anything that is too difficult for the child to do, like a 10-year-old child carrying 25 liters of water that I can't even carry, that a child pounding yams, a child hawking on the streets, even at night, then a child learning a mechanic or any other job. We are not saying people should not learn jobs, but a child, when
it should be a vocational job, not one that
is going to
disturb their
education and disturb their mental health, because some children that get used to things hard from the tender age, and it's affecting them when they were growing up. Remember, the one abused child is also an abuser. So these children has been classified, this kind of labor has been classified as a hard labor.
And these children are now seen to be in debt bondage, because I think there are some people who actually send these children out to go and make money for them, and if they don't get to the targets they are asked to bring back, they become, they are now in bondage, and they continuously do this, right?
Yes, that's so pathetic and so saddening. We handled a case recently that we did a family tracing, that we have to trace the family of that girl to their village. When we got to that village, after we took a flight, got to the town, we took a vehicle, got to the village, then we took a bike for an hour to get to where the parents of this girl is. Do you know what happened? This money that they collected from this girl to enslave her, because we see it as an slavery. A 10-year-old being paid 10 years to go and do a maid. They don't know the kind of job the child is going to do there.
So when they got the child, what did the parents say?
They collect the 10 years.
Oh, they paid for 10 years.
And the child was 10 years. So that means for 20 years, that child is going to, in the next 10 years, the child is going to be there. At 20, what can she do again?
Okay.
So when we got to this village, we got to know that the money, 70% of the money was used to do a burial of an aged grandma. Not even use it to utilize it to do something that can be profitable. They use that money because they believe that they have other children, then they can also enslave them like that.
This is where community comes in. They should talk to parents not to, send their children out, because they don't really know what the children are doing. Okay, now we see this child labor that we're talking about. Is it religious, cultural, or socio-economic benefits? Does it have any of those benefits to communities?
Yeah, I would say it's a culture, a norms, social, economic issue, but not a religion. Not a religion. Based on the investigation, based on our advocacy, we have found out it's not really a religion. All the religions practice it. So it doesn't mean that it's because of this certain religion, that's why they are engaging in it. Some people believe that some tribes believe that the best work that they can do is to be a maid. And they have to start at the tender age and be a graduate in it. So it can look like a norm. And then some community believes that when their children, they just want, like for the rural area to urban area, they want their children to be in Lagos or to be in Abuja. So what they know is that my child is out of the village. Okay. My child is in Lagos. You don't even know what the child is doing there. So it could be seen as a culture, then we have economic, socio-economic issue, but not a religion.
Okay, in our investigations, we discovered that children with no birth certificates or let's say, orphans, no legal documentations, children living with their old parents, and they mostly end up in child labor. So what should be done to tackle this by communities, starting from the local government? We can't just leave everything for the federal. So let's start from the basics.
Even to start with, governments are really trying. They are really trying. Laws has been put in places. But we found out that these laws has not been well implemented by individual, by the community leaders. And that's why we need to create more advocacy. We need to do sensitization to the roots, not on the social media sensitization, because most of people that this thing has been affected, they are not educated. They are not elites. They don't even have TV. So let's go to their roots. Let them know the implication.
Like one-on-one, like
yes.
door-to-door.
Yes. Let them know the implication of what they are doing, the impact they are creating in the society. Because the children that are on the street now, that are endangering their life, selling and all those stuff, anything's happened to them. Some of them could be raped. Some of them could engage in illicit drugs. And the children, any child they give birth to, will also go back to the grandma, and the grandma also will sell the child again outside. So that thing continues.
It's a ripple effect, so it needs to stop.
It needs to stop. And it can only be stopped if the community leaders, the stakeholders, the religion leaders, the theologian, and everyone that is affected. We shouldn't say it's not my child.
Yes.
The child you refuse to care for will come and disturb the one you are caring for.
Okay, well, I've heard it all from our sister Mary Love here, and she's spoken, passionately about child labor and what should be done by communities. Do not pay a deaf ears. Always speak against the ills in the society. Thank you for joining us on Panorama.
You're welcome.
All right, now it's time for us to take some sporting news.